What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at some McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse figures. So first off, we have Azrael in the Batman armor from Nights In. So where's armor? He turned to this red color. Still has pretty similar design, and of course we'll compare it to our other Batman Azraels we've had before. But this one looks pretty cool with the nice like sharp wing designs over his back, and then of course the red color. So that looks pretty cool. And if we spin around just a picture there, that will be on his card included. So that looks awesome. And then we have Kryptonite Doomsday, which looks pretty cool as well. So it looks like they took that Doomsday figure we've already had, modified it with the Kryptonite version being the guy that I'll tell you the story about, but looks pretty nice with the bright green crystals of Kryptonite on him. Just looks awesome. And I think they may glow in the dark as well. It's hard to tell, but I just think it looks cool. Nice face design as well, a little bit modified there. And if we spin it around, we can just see his picture there. So him fighting, it looks like got Batman and Superman, since on the side of the box it says Superman/Batman there. So it goes with that comic book story as well. So it looks pretty awesome for both of these figures, and I'm excited to check them out. So let me get them open out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. And let's start off with Azrael, also known as Jean-Paul Valley. Now, he was a former vigilante that was chosen by Bruce Wayne to become Batman after he was crippled by Bane. But as time went on, Jean-Paul would descend further into madness as he was haunted by hallucinations, causing him to be ruthless to criminals. And when Bruce returned as Batman and confronted Azrael, he quickly defeated him, and Jean-Paul abandoned the mantle, becoming a homeless man in Gotham City. So now in this particular form, we have the red Azrael battlesuit, which is an armored suit that is bulletproof with bladed wings on his back, containing a shuriken launcher, flamethrower, and other weapons with an ammo feeder. So this looks pretty cool, getting the more armored up version of Azrael. And again, this is more from Nights In, where his armor turns red. And I think, at least by the look of it, kind of is unexplained why it turns red, aside from going with the more classic Azrael design of the red and gold colors. But yeah, it just seems kind of unexplained because he just sort of shows up, and Nightwing and Robin are kind of like, why is his suit red now instead of blue? But looks pretty cool with the red design. So we get the armored helmet again, still looks like Batman with the bat ears. Get the nice lighter red color there for the visor with the big shoulder pieces coming off. And again, we've seen most of this is a lot of reuse from the other Azrael that I'll show you comparison wise, just in red this time. And then he's got, like I said, the big bladed wings on his back. So we get these wings. So we have the 6 wings hanging off his back there. So that looks pretty cool. And of course, they just sort of attach in here. It's nice soft plastic for this armor piece. And then these are harder plastic, so they just sort of peg in. So if you don't want them, you can easily just pop them all out, or we can just leave them in there in his back, which I assume will make him back and top heavy, so may have issues getting him standing and stuff. Then from there, we do get the big bat logo there on his chest, which looks nice against the red with the gold underneath. So nice gold armor in there with some armor plating coming down his chest, pockets around his waist, and even a little thigh strap there. And then we have more of what we've seen before, especially in the pants. So this nice tight pants in the gray with this nice design all running through it. Some like spikes there down on his legs all the way to the boots. Then he's got the gauntlets on with nice sharp claws there on his hands with nice red and gold design. Again, very similar to what we've seen before with the spikes coming off those as well. And as I mentioned, does have an ammo feeder. So we get these little straps here connecting to his back, feeding ammo into his gauntlets where it can shoot out of the end there. So it just looks really cool. Just nice to get another design of Azrael. And of course, they have made a Platinum Chase version of this where it's more the blue version. So that would be pretty cool to get as well. Hopefully we'll be able to find that. Looks pretty nice for this armor design overall. Now, moon-wise, we get that will twist all the way around. Can look down that far and up that far. So not too bad. Not the best moons, but not bad for what he's got. We get the shoulders that come up. Should be pretty close to 90 hard. Of course, the stiff joints, and then with the armor pad and stuff, can at least get it up to 90 still. And it has like the butterfly in there. Of course, we can also rotate around within there. We get the bicep twist and the double elbow joint that can bend up that far on itself. So not too bad, just armor in the way. All the way down to the hand that should be able to twist around and of course flex on the ball joint, but again, depending on where you have the hand placed with the gauntlet, it may get in the way, so it may be hard to move sometimes. Then we go to the ab crunch, so we get an upper ab crunch, and again, it's hard to do all this movement, especially with those blades on his back, but we get the upper ab crunch, so just under the gold section here, crunch back and forth and can twist around, and then down under this like whiter color, he crunches and twists around more at the waist there, so get a cooler classic double joints there for the McFarlanes. Then down to the hips up to 90, out to the side, he can do the splits. Pretty much no thigh twist on him, unfortunately. Then the double knee joint that will bend to the back, and of course got to worry about those blades, but will bend there pretty much, kicking himself in the butt all the way down to the foot. That'll rock back and forth. Of course, twists side to side and has the toe joint on the end. So it has the pretty standard McFarlane joints. Of course, like I said, just a little hard to do with, especially those blades on his back, but he works out pretty well. Don't really have any major issues, and he stands relatively easily. Now he does have some issues of falling back, like I said, top heavy and everything, but the way he stands, at least feet wise, looks like he is sort of standing forward, and his legs are already at like a wide stance, so that's going to help him stand up as well. It's just kind of weird how wide it is, and you can't get it any closer, unfortunately. But if I did have a huge standing, he does come with the base. Of course, we can put him on. And that's all he comes with, so no extra accessories, unfortunately. He does come with those black blades. Those were separate in the package, and I already just put them in just because it looked weird without it. So I put those in already, so I guess those could be considered accessories. But yeah, all he comes with is the base, and of course the card with him there from Knights In, so it looks pretty nice and mean there. And of course, on the back of the card, we have that as Jean-Paul Valley. Upon his father's death, college student Jean-Paul Valley learns that he's been genetically altered and trained since birth by the secret society known as the Order of Saint Dumas. They then activate his psychological conditioning, forcing him to become their most elite enforcer, Azrael. While on a mission in Gotham City, Azrael crosses paths with Batman and soon turns on the Order to join the Dark Knight. Later, when Bruce Wayne is paralyzed by Bane, Bruce asks Jean-Paul to become Batman for some time. Jean-Paul then launches a campaign of brutal justice against the criminals of Gotham City and creates his own bat suit of armor. So there's a little bit more explanation, especially backstory with the Order of Saint Dumas for normal Azrael, but for the Jean-Paul Valley becoming Batman, pretty much the same. So overall, it looks pretty nice and cool. And as I mentioned, he's had different armors, of course, the Azrael armors, but this is more him in the Batman armors. And again, there's that blue version, that's the Platinum Chase. But then we have what I believe is his first Batman armor suit. So we get this one, of course, this is older. This is from Nightfall itself and looks pretty nice. I always like this design as well. So like I said, less armored up design, but it shares a lot of the same body with this figure, especially the base body. Just change some of the shoulder design and the head and stuff, but everything else is pretty much the same. Gauntlets are pretty similar, just has the gun piece attached onto it with that, but everything else is going to be exactly the same between our two figures here. But just nice to see that transition over time with the Azrael Batman suit, but looks pretty nice for this red version. And then we've got the Kryptonite Doomsday, whose real name is Joshua Walker. He was an all-American farm boy from Kansas that after graduating college joined the Army. And while there he signed up for a bioweapon immunization program that he was tricked into an experiment that bonded his DNA with the alien DNA of Doomsday using kryptonite. So this turned him into a hulking creature resembling Doomsday, but with kryptonite spikes protruding all over his body. And he was created by Amanda Waller for the Last Line program to protect the US against a rogue Superman. So that sounds crazy, creating a monster like this in case they have an issue with Superman. But for powers, he has superhuman strength, he's invulnerable, has claws, fangs, and produces radiation with the kryptonite. And overall looks pretty cool, looks a lot like Doomsday, has a lot of similar designs and details. And of course, action figure wise, reuses a lot of that Doomsday we've already had, and I will show you that. But looks pretty nice with his all rocky body, or whatever they call it for Doomsday. Just looks pretty nice with like all the rocks and spike designs coming off over him. As I mentioned, he has the kryptonite spikes, so instead of just the normal crystal spikes like Doomsday had, he's got these kryptonite ones that look pretty nice with the nice green spikes on his hands, arms, shoulders, of course even some coming out of his teeth. It looks like nice crystals sticking out there, even some green around his eyes and down on his legs as well. And I do believe these glow in the dark. Now of course they are nice bright green already, but I do believe they do have a glow in the dark ability, and if it does, I'll get a picture of that and have this here so you can see that. Looks pretty nice overall, like I said, pretty similar to Doomsday. Has the same sort of outfit design, so the pants, like the containment pants, I think is what it was originally, that were all ripped up. Of course, originally like a lighter green, but now they're this really dark green with the bands on around the thighs and belt there holding the pants on, and then similar color with boots, so exact same boots reused once again. The only real difference with this one is his face design, so we get this face that looks pretty weird and creepy, has a logo on top. I assume that's part of like the Last Line or whatever, just some part of the design for the program. He has that logo there on his head. He's got the long like dreadlocks and stuff, which is pretty nice. Love that design. And then of course his mouth there with the big teeth that look crazy, and his mouth does open and close, so that's pretty nice. Has that function in there as well. So besides that, so the head's different, and then the colors are pretty much the only thing else that's different. Everything else is just almost complete reuse from the Doomsday. Now, movement-wise, we do get the head that moves. Of course, will be hard with all this hair and crystal, so just a little bit of side shaking, but you can look down that far and up that far, so not a whole lot of movement in the head, and as I already showed you, the mouth does open and close. We have the shoulders that do come up. It's going to be real hard because the joints are all stuck and everything, but even with that, it comes up about that far because of the crystal, so only out to there. Of course, has the butterfly and can rotate around within there. Then we get the single elbow joint that bends there to 90 with rotation in that, so that's nice. With the wrist, they'll also twist all the way around and hinge back and forth, but again, real stiff. And of course, these all pokey and spiky everywhere, so as I'm doing, I'm getting poked all in my hands, so not the easiest to do this. Then we get his ab crunch, so just under his chest, he'll crunch and twist all the way around. And then, of course, as usual, gotta get hold of him, but he can crunch and twist around at the waist. Then we go down to the legs that will come up to 90 and out to the side. He can do the splits, get a thigh twist up in there, the single knee joint that'll bend back to 90 and has rotation in it, and then down to the boot that'll flex back and forth and twist side to side. So pretty good movements. I think I said it with the original Doomsday, but this one as well. Pretty surprised with how good it moves. Like, obviously the joints are stiff, so hard to move, but the amount of range that they move is pretty nice. So really nice for this. Of course, would be nice to have the like double knees and elbows, but with him being so big, makes sense why he's only got the singles. But he still works out pretty nice, like I said, and has good range and all that. So works out nicely overall for him. Now, accessory-wise, doesn't come with anything, just the plate, but he's so big and has big feet, we don't need the plate at all. And he also comes with the cards. So there's a nice picture of his fist with the kryptonite there with Superman and Batman's cowl, because it's from Superman Batman, which is cool. But here on the back we have his story with his real name of Joshua Walker. It says, once a simple Kansas farm boy, Joshua Walker wanted nothing more to make his parents proud and serve his country. Knowing service meant sacrifice, Walker volunteered for Amanda Waller's Last Line experimental program. Using kryptonite as a bonding agent, Joshua's DNA was intertwined with Doomsday, mutating him into an unstoppable monster. Dubbed the All-American Boy, Walker's sole purpose became subduing Superman and, if necessary, kill the Man of Steel. So there's a good explanation with his backstory, a little more expansion of what I told you already, so that is really cool. And of course, as I keep mentioning, Doomsday here is that Doomsday figure that it's pretty much based off and reused a lot of the same. So there we can have Doomsday and the All-American Boy facing off against each other, so that is pretty nice. So this is a pretty cool figure, especially, you know, having facing off against Superman and Batman if we wanted, in case they decide to go rogue. But pretty nice design, especially with, like I said, the glow-in-the-dark bright green crystals and all that. He looks really cool, so I just really like this figure. Well, that's it for our two DC Multiverse figures of the red Batman suit Azrael and Kryptonite Doomsday. Both of these are really cool. Of course, not necessary additions to the collection since we've already had Azrael, we've already had Doomsday. These are just additional versions, but I do really like the red version of Azrael. It looks pretty nice, like I said, combining more of his Batman armor in with his original red and gold armor. That's pretty awesome. And then this Doomsday just looks awesome. I just love the green crystals and the glow-in-the-dark effect and all that. That is just really cool in my opinion. So two cool figures to add to the collection that I hope you enjoy as well. But let me know your opinions on them down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my video, let me know with that like, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.